Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to dive into something that really stood out for me in so many advocacy campaigns this year's World Diabetes Day celebration across board. The continuous use of the phrase diabetic patient was everywhere, and this got me really riled up. So I decided to make a video about this, and let's see how we can just tone down and eventually take away the use of that phrase diabetic patient. Where do I start from? We're still in 2025 and we're still hearing it everywhere. That phrase diabetic patient. We hear it in the clinics, in the media, in awareness posters, and even from healthcare professionals who actually mean well. The truth is that that language carries power, and this particular phrase carries stigma. Now, let's actually look at why this phrase, diabetic patient, is a big problem. When someone is called a diabetic patient, the condition now becomes their identity. It will now start to suggest that diabetes actually defines them. Their humanity comes second, and the disease is the focus and not the person. So this kind of language might feel small to some people, but in the long run, it goes a long way to shape how people perceive themselves and how the society perceives us as individuals or persons living with diabetes. For a person living with diabetes, especially those managing daily burdens, this can actually deepen shame, stigma, and isolation. The next question will be, why do people still use this language even after we have been advocating that language matters? Well, from my point of view, I think it might be out of habit because of decades of the medical training where diseases were first labels. Number two, lack of awareness. I think many professionals simply don't know the impact of using that phrase. Number three, cultural carryover. So in like many countries, this phrase is still widely accepted. I don't know why. Number four, documentation shortcuts. And number five, power dynamics. So here, healthcare language often prioritizes clinical labels over lived experience. Well, I would say that doesn't make it right just because it's common. Now, let's move over and talk about why person first language really matters. The person comes first, always. The condition is only one part of their life and not their identity. And research has actually shown that the first person language improves engagement in care. Internalized stigma is reduced, and mental health is better supported, and the communication between clinicians and patients is very much improved, and motivation and self-efficacy is so much strengthened. So it's not just politically correct, it is clinically correct, it is respectful, and it is very empowering. So next question, how do we change this mindset? Number one, we need to start correcting that language, but we need to do it gently and consistently. That's very important. So persons living with diabetes, adults managing diabetes should be used instead of diabetic patient. Number two, we need to educate the healthcare team, as in re-educate them all together. And number 3, we need to lead by example. So we can't call ourselves diabetic patients. We need to say we are persons living with diabetes. So you lead by example and people will follow suit. Number 4, we need to influence media and campaigns. So that narrative needs to change. We need to also keep the conversation alive and understand that World Diabetes Day is not just about blue circles everywhere. It's about us changing all these narratives. So my take-home message today is you need to understand that words matter and language actually shapes dignity. No one living with diabetes should be reduced to a label. That is very important. We should never be reduced to a label. So the next time you hear that phrase, diabetic patient, you need to speak up, not with anger, not at all, but with education. Together, we can actually shift the global diabetes language, reduce stigma, and actually create a world where persons living with diabetes are actually honored, respected, and very well understood. I want to thank you all for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you believe in stigma-free diabetes advocacy, let's get to the comment section. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye.